Imagine being rank 1 on your server. Now imagine being rank 1 on your server and also being rank 1 on another server at the same time. Well, this player did just that. And he didn't stop there. The following year, he was rank 1 on his server again. Then, he flew to Korea, played on the most difficult server to climb, and got rank 1 there too. And he did this in only 2 weeks. This player is Agurin, who, based on these achievements, is likely the best solo queue player in the world. This video is going to be an in-depth look into how Agurin plays jungle, how he is so good that he is able to beat the Korean server in only 2 weeks, and what separates him from other junglers. I've watched plenty of Agurin's VODs in the past, even before deciding to make this video. To prepare for this video in particular, I watched over 30 of his games. I did this while taking notes and looking for trends in his gameplay, such as how often he would gank, farm, or contest objectives. The first thing I'll address, which is going to be a very big surprise to people who are not familiar with Agurin, is his tendency to full clear. I'll put it simply. After the 18th straight game I watched of Agurin doing a full clear, and yes, I am being serious, I decided to stop keeping track. Agurin is the jungle efficiency king, and he is not going to waste any of his time or resources on a play that is not extremely likely to work. You don't have to listen to me, just listen to the man himself.
This is, by the way, exactly how I see the game. If the laners don't fuck up, there's almost no chance to kill them. Like a very low percent, right? This is what I always say. So your standard gameplay should be farming, being efficient. This is your standard gameplay. And of course, if you see someone making mistakes, you can try to punish. Yeah, this is how I play the game. This is what always worked for me for the last fucking years, for 10 years. And this is why I've been ranked 1 for all these years.
It's very important to understand why Agurin feels this way. If you gank while your camps are up, everything you do is inherently riskier. Even if the enemy jungler doesn't take your camps, neither did you. You're still down that golden experience. You've also made it so your camps aren't respawning together. This is another loss to your overall efficiency, because now you are permanently behind a certain amount of time and gold and experience from where you could have been. It's actually even worse than that. Even if the gank goes right, it's still not a guarantee that you're going to get more gold and experience from the gank than you would get for clearing the camps. It's rarely the case that a gank will give you more resources, on average over a large sample size, than clearing your camps would.
Simple math. If you have 20% chance that the gank is successful, okay, 20% chance to get 300 gold. Okay, let's say 30% chance, okay, because the math will be simpler. You will how much gold will you get from the play? 100 gold. Like over 1,000 games, you will get every single time 100 gold, because 3 out of 10 times it works. Well, it's 90. Yeah, but we will say 100. So it's not a good play, because you got 100 gold. But if you farm 2 camps, you have 200 gold. So over 1,000 games, it's just better to farm.
If you clear the camps first, then use your free time on the map to look for plays, all of the plays you make have less risk involved. This is because you're not gambling your own efficiency on the play working out. This mindset is the least team-reliant mindset you could possibly have, and is very good for solo queue. I can't tell you how many times I saw Agurin actively ignore pings from top-tier challenger Korean laners because he didn't agree with what they wanted. Sure, many of these players are pros, but how many of them achieved rank 1 on their server in less than 2 weeks?
Guys, I killed Faker!
Agurin's macro decision-making is extremely clean. Agurin plays to avoid risk, which minimizes the natural variance involved within solo queue. Agurin said himself that he likes to go for very high percentage plays, choosing to actively avoid plays that rely heavily on his teammates doing the right thing. Keep in mind, what matters in these games is not if a play works once, it's the average result of that play if you made that play hundreds or thousands of times. This is why Agurin is able to climb so consistently and so fast. His goal is not to win every single game, but instead to choose the strategically correct or consistent options. This is similar to how good poker players approach poker. You don't consider a play incorrect because it didn't work one time. A play also is not correct just because it did work one time. Agurin has a very narrow range of plays that he is willing to go for, meaning that it is rare for him to be in a losing position. He does not allow his teammates to make decisions for him, instead choosing to play the way that he knows is correct, and the results speak for itself.
I mean, for me, I would say about myself that I'm not that good mechanically. I can play my champs, but I excel very much at macro game, my opinion of myself.
Agurin is very focused on what actually matters in the game, and almost never chases for kills or participates in random fights. If you listen to his commentary, there is always a reason he is choosing to engage a fight or go for a play. It's never out of boredom, and he's never just making a random play and hoping for the best. His strategy revolves around doing what is consistent and avoiding what has high variance. One thing that really stands out about Agurin is that he is extremely calm, particularly when compared to your average solo queue junglers. This could be because that's just how Agurin is, but I think it's also very likely that his approach to the game helps him remain focused. Agurin knows that he can't win every single game, but if he plays correctly, then he will win far more than he loses on average. Consider how strong this approach to the game is when it comes to not tilting and not raging. Because the individual outcome of each game does not matter, Agurin is not emotionally invested in every game. A loss doesn't sting as much when you know the losses are unavoidable.
Just in one specific game, yes, of course, maybe it won't work. But I know over a lot of games, I will 100%, it will work, you know?
You don't care so much when your team loses the game for you because you know that is normal and unavoidable. League is a game that has a lot of natural variance due to having 4 random teammates in every game that you play. Agurin understands this perfectly. This creates something like a positive feedback loop. Agurin's strategy involves playing consistently and efficiently over a long period. His mindset complements this because he is not going to be devastated every time that he loses. Because his losses don't tilt him as much, his gameplay is much more consistent on average than other players, which is, as he said, how he is able to climb to begin with. Before moving on, I want to take a moment to thank you all for supporting the channel. Every like or comment makes a huge difference with the algorithm, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Over 90% of the people who watch my content are not subscribed, so if you'd like more content like this, let me know down below. Thank you again, and back to the video. Agurin's approach to the game is very macro-oriented, and he has a strong focus on playing around objectives, especially Dragon. This doesn't mean he just flips Dragon every time it's up, but he is never giving away objectives for free, and when he does want to contest an objective, he is there on time with his gold spent. To be clear, the jungler can't just decide if their team will get Dragon or not. If the laners don't want to play around Dragon, or can't play around Dragon, then there's nothing a jungler can do about that. It is important to identify when you can and can't do or contest Dragon, and Agurin does that constantly. If he can't contest an objective, he will simply trade for something somewhere else. Agurin's champ pool is probably not what you expect if you don't already know. As I said before, Agurin prioritizes farm very heavily as a result of his consistent and efficient approach to the game. You may be surprised to hear that his 2 most played champions are Jarvan and Elise. If a low elo player had to pick the champions who would be least likely to farm a lot, these 2 would definitely be on that list. Agurin, however, gets at least 7 CS a minute on each of those champions. For reference, the average Platinum Plus Jarvan player gets about 5 CS a minute, and the average Platinum Plus Elise player gets between 4 and 5 CS a minute. Agurin also plays a lot of Kha'Zix, particularly with a Bruiser build, and he gets close to 8 CS a minute on average, and when he plays Nocturne, he gets at least 7 CS a minute on average. Players think that if you aren't playing a champion like Master Yi or Karthus, you shouldn't be prioritizing farm. The fact that Agurin plays 2 champions that players typically think should be spam ganking and focuses heavily on his own farm should trigger you to reconsider how you think about the game. There aren't champions that should never farm, and there aren't champions that should only ever farm. There is risk and reward involved in every play that you could make, and the key to climbing is to reduce variance and do what is consistent. Oftentimes, the best thing you could possibly do to increase your chance to win is to not make a play. Again, you don't have to listen to me. Listen to him.
The best play sometimes you can do is not making a play. Example, if you're trading bot lane, right, you're being proactive. Your jungler is pathing away. Enemy jungler is pathing to you. The best play you can make is not playing, not taking the trades. You can be proactive, but it's fucking bad. You will get punished. The best play, I mean, just for bot lane, is, for example, is not making a play. The same goes for jungling. Sometimes doing an invade or doing something is worse than doing nothing, just being efficient at farming.
There should be a reason for every single play that you make. If you can't give a concrete reason why you are going for a gank, why you are engaged in a fight, or why you're going for an invade, or anything else, you are simply coin flipping the game. It could be even worse than a coin flip, because your chance of success could be below 50%. On top of that, even if it is a 50-50, maybe you stand to lose much more than you could possibly gain.
Do you guys understand my logic that I don't want to fight this, even though we for sure win, right? Like, very likely win. I don't want to. In the FFG. I would prefer to not fight these mid lane fights. Of course, if I'm there, I'm pretty like certain we will win. We are so much stronger, but we don't need to. Rather take T2 mid and expand the lead, right?
I can guarantee if you go back through your games, you'll be shocked by how often you are doing things for seemingly no reason. Being bored is not a reason to engage a fight. Agurin doesn't build to be a full damage, one-shotting hypercarry. Instead, Agurin generally builds to fill a versatile spot on his team, able to pull the trigger to start fights or frontline as needed. This doesn't mean he never builds full damage when it makes sense, for example on Elise, however you will rarely if ever see him build full lethality or full AD on Jarvan, Kha'Zix, or Nocturne. Because Agurin is not a one-trick, and has performed this impressive feat across multiple seasons with a diverse champion pool, it is clear that Agurin's success is not meta-dependent or champion-dependent. Agurin's success is because of his incredible understanding of game fundamentals, his commitment to his climbing strategy, and his mindset which is perfect for handling the variance and frustration of solo queue. A common comment from lower elo players is that playing like this is greedy or team-reliant. This is a huge misconception, and the opposite is actually true. A jungler that chooses to avoid risk and instead go for plays that are highly likely to succeed is giving their team the best chance at success. Contrast this with a jungler who wants to go for risky plays constantly. They are relying on their team to play around them. If their team doesn't play around them, and let's face it, in solo queue they probably won't, that jungler is going to end up putting their team further and further behind. League is not a game of 1v1s. It is a 5v5 game with 5 different 1v1s happening. At any time, a 1v1 can become a 1v2 or 2v2 and so on. Oftentimes, when you are going for an invade, for example, you are relying on your team to play around you. Even in high elo, this does not always happen. The jungler who is trying to constantly force plays when his team can't follow up, don't want to follow up, or simply don't know that they should follow up, is constantly relying on their team to play around them. This is the team-reliant playstyle. Likewise, a jungler who sacrifices their own efficiency to focus on getting laners ahead is relying on their team to perform better than they could have. They are giving up their own strength in hopes that the laner will make up the difference. You want your team to be able to rely on you because you are the common factor in all of your games. Having your team rely on you does not mean playing passively, and it doesn't mean playing aggressively. It is simply playing correctly and going for plays that have a high expected value. Expected value is, as I mentioned earlier, the value of a play on average over a large sample size. Again, another clip from Agurin.
Just in one specific game, yes, of course, maybe it won't work. But I know over a lot of games, I will 100%, it will work, you know?
A trap that players often fall into is assuming that their team is going to know what is correct and know what you are trying to do. Your communication options in League are very limited, and in recent times have only been limited even further.
I still can't ping, I'm really just fucking muted. I need assistance, hello! What is this? When can I... I'm gonna die because of this garbage. It's me!
Unlike in pro play, there is no easy or efficient way to communicate with your team, meaning it is very difficult to know if they are going to listen to your pings, or if they are even able to see your pings at all. This affects the risk and reward of all of your plays, as things that are very obvious to you, and maybe should be obvious to the players around you, may not be something they are even aware of.
Pro play is a fucking different game. Because you actually know for sure that what your teammates will tell you. If your teammates will say, hey, I'm gonna do this and this, I will have this and this, then you know what you're getting. In solo queue, random shit. Sometimes people just don't go, sometimes people, you know, they don't listen, or they randomly die, or any random shit happens. So you have to take this into your account, right?
Even in high elo, it is sometimes the case that players will blatantly miss or disagree on things like rotating with priority, going for a gank, or contesting an objective.
What is happening? Why did we just go in one by one by one?
This problem is only going to be worse in low elo. Something I wanted to mention is that historically in League, there has been no shortage of ways to abuse the ranked system for inflated rank and OP gains. For example, server transfers, accounts with boosted MMR from normal games, dodging Masters promo games while duo to inflate MMR, the list goes on. Agurin did not do any of these on his climb, which makes it all the more impressive and provides even more reason to learn from him. On top of this, Agurin streamed his climbs live on Twitch with no delay and with no map cover. People may not understand what a big deal this is, but it is very rare for people, especially junglers, to try to climb with no delay and no map cover. It leaves you wide open to stream snipers, which only become more common the higher elo you go. On top of this, the higher your elo, the easier it is to stream snipe you because the queue times are so long and the player base is so small. So not only did Agurin achieve these things, which almost no one else can do, he did them while being stream sniped regularly. It's hard to prove if someone is stream sniping, but when you consider that he did these things while streaming in very high elo with no delay and no map cover, there is no doubt the players took advantage of this. It still didn't stop him from getting rank 1. While playing in Korea, Agurin played both with and against Faker.
He's gonna steal it, right? He's smart. Let's fucking get it, Faker! You're the best! You're actually the best player!
He also spoke with Showmaker, who remembered playing with his bruiser Kha'Zix.
Wow. Oh my god. Oh my god. I didn't know that they can get better than that. Yeah, wait, I'm gonna... Holy moly. Okay. Yeah, I'm obviously gonna tweet this. I honestly didn't expect him to remember me because I don't think Kenyon did. Yeah, okay guys. I think career is a success, like a full on. I can just legit die now. I'm like fine.
Agurin also received the Ultimate Jungle Achievement, a post-game honor from an autofilled canyon.
And the last one is actually Canyon. I got Canyon's honor, guys. I got Canyon's honor. Let's go. This is a screenshot.
While Agurin is not in the pro scene, there's no doubt that he is one of the best players in the world and is very likely the best solo queue jungler, possibly of all time. Looking at his more recent achievements, he just hit Challenger while playing almost exclusively Brand Jungle. He currently has a 60% win rate over 122 games and is ranked 240 on the ladder.
Hate it.
It's important to make note that not only did he climb to Challenger with a 60% win rate, his account finished Challenger last season. This means that achieving a high win rate is much harder than you would expect, because right from the start of this season, he would be playing in high elo games due to his high MMR. He didn't stomp low elo games to achieve this win rate. These games were all played with high elo players. Regardless of the type of champion or the meta, Agurin has been able to consistently find success season after season. If you're looking to learn jungle, Agurin's VODs are a great place to start. That concludes this video. For finishing up, I want to give credit to Agurin for basically all of the clips I used for this video. Basically all of them are either right off his YouTube channel or his Twitch channel, both of which you should definitely check out. Thank you very much for watching, and good luck in your games.